Chapter 6. True date, June 3rd. I woke up thinking that today was my birthday, May 22nd. I rolled over, saw the piece of paper half stuck from my glasses case, put on my glasses and read the note. It didn't enlighten me. I didn't remember writing the note, and why should I go downstairs and turn on the recorder? But I did so. As I listened to the machine, my heart thudded as if it were a judge's gavel. My voice kept fading in and out. Was I going to faint? And so, half of today was wasted trying to regain 12 days in my mind. I didn't go to the office, and the kids went to school late. And what about the kids in school on the day side of Earth? If they sleep during their geometry class, say, then they have to go through the class again on the same day. And that shoves the schedule forward, or is it backward, for that day. And then there's the time which workers will lose on their jobs. They have to make it up, which means they get out an hour later. Only it takes more than an hour to recover from the confusion and get oriented. What a mess it has been. What a mess it'll be if this keeps on. At 11, Carol and I were straightened out enough to go to the supermarket. It was Tuesday, but Carol wanted me to be with her. So I tried to phone in and tell my secretary I'd be absent. The lines were tied up, and I doubt that she was at work. So I said to hell with it. Our supermarket usually opens at 8. Not today. We had to stand in a long line, which kept getting longer. The doors opened at 12. The manager, clerks, and boys had just as much trouble as we did, unconfusing themselves, of course. Some didn't show at all, and some of the trucks which were to bring supplies never appeared. By the time Carol and I got inside, those ahead of us had cleaned out half the supplies. They had the same idea we had. Load up now so there wouldn't be any standing in line so many times. The fresh milk was all gone, and the powdered milk shelf had one box left. I started for it, but some teenager beat me to it. I felt like hitting him. But I didn't, of course. The prices for everything were being upped by a fourth even as we shopped. Some of the stuff was being marked upward once more while we stood in line at the checkout counter. From the time we entered the line until we pushed out 3 overflowing carts, 4 hours had passed. While Carol put away the groceries, I drove to another supermarket. The line there was a block long. It would be emptied and closed up before I ever got to its doors. The next 2 supermarkets and a corner grocery store were just as hopeless. And the 3 liquor stores I went to were no better. The 4th only had about 30 men in line, so I tried that. When I got inside, all the beer was gone, which didn't bother me any. But the only hard stuff left was a 5th of rot gut. I drank it when I went to college because I couldn't afford anything better. I put the terrible stuff in a half-gallon of cheap muscatel on the counter. Anything was better than nothing, even though the prices had been doubled. I started to make out the check, but the clerk said, "Sorry, sir. Cash only." "What?" I said. "Haven't you heard, sir?" he said. "The banks were closed at 2 p.m. today." "The banks are closed?" I said. That sounded stupid even to myself. "Yes, sir," he said. "By the federal government. It's only temporary, sir. At least, that's what the TV said. They'll be reopened after the stock market mess is cleared up." "But," I said. "It's destructed," he said. "Destroyed," I said automatically. "You mean it's another Black Friday?" "It's Tuesday today," he said. "You're too young to know the reference," I said. "And too uneducated, too, I thought." "The president is going to set up a rationing system," he said. "For the interim. And price controls, too. Turner said so on TV an hour ago. The president is going to lay it all out at 6 tonight." When I came home, I found Carol in front of the TV. She was pale and wide-eyed. "There's going to be another depression," she said. "Oh, Mark, What are we going to do? I don't know, I said. I'm not the president, you know. And I slumped down onto the sofa. I had lost all my flippancy. Neither of us knew what a depression, with a big capital D, was, though we'd been through recessions, of course. We hadn't experienced it personally. But we'd heard our parents, who were kids when it happened, talk about it. Carol's parents had gotten along, though they didn't live well. And my father used to tell me about days when he had nothing but stale bread and turnips to eat, and was happy to get them. The president's TV speech was mostly about the Depression, which he claimed would be temporary. At the end of half an hour of optimistic talk, he revealed why he thought the situation wouldn't last. The federal government wasn't going to wait for the sentients in the ball, if there were any there, to communicate with us. Obviously, the ball was hostile, so the survey expedition had been cancelled. Tomorrow, the USA, the USSR, France, West Germany, Israel, India, Japan, and China would send up an armada of rockets tipped with H-bombs. The orbits and the order of battle were determined this morning by computers. One after the other, the missiles would zero in until the ball was completely destroyed. It would be overkill with a vengeance. That ought to bring up the stock market, I said. And so, after I finished recording, to bed. Tomorrow, we'll follow our instructions on the notes, re-listen to the tapes, reread certain sections of the newspapers, and await the news on the TV. To hell with going to the courthouse. Nobody's going to be there anyway. Oh, yes. With all this confusion and excitement, everybody, myself included, forgot that today was my birthday. Wait a minute. It's not my birthday. True date, June 5th. Subjective date, May 16th. Same year. I woke up mad at Carol because of our argument the previous day. Not that of June 4th, of course, but our brawl on May 15th. We'd been at a party given by the Burlingtons, where I met a beautiful young artist, Roberta Gardner. Carol thought I was paying too much attention to her because she looked like Myrna. Maybe I was. On the other hand, I really was interested in her paintings. It seemed to me that she had a genuine talent. When we got home, Carol tore into me, accused me of still being in love with Myrna. My protest did no good whatsoever. Finally, I told her we might as well get a divorce if she couldn't forgive and forget. She ran crying out of the room and slept on the sofa downstairs. I don't remember what reconciled us, of course. We must have worked it out. Otherwise, we wouldn't still be married. Anyway, I woke up determined to see a divorce lawyer today. I was sick about what Mike and Tom would have to go through, but it would be better for them to be spared our terrible quarrels. I can remember my reactions when I was an adolescent and overheard my parents fighting. It was a relief, though a sad one, when they separated. Thinking this, I reached for my glasses, and I found the note. And so, another voyage into confusion, disbelief, and horror. Now that the panic has eased off somewhat, May 18th is back in the saddle. Somewhat. Carol and I are, in a sense, still in that day, and things are a bit cool. It's 1 p.m. now. We just watched the first rockets take off. 10 of them, one after the other. It's 1:35 p.m. Via satellite, we watched the Japanese missiles. We just heard that the Chinese and Russian rockets are being launched. When the other nations send theirs up, there will be 37 in all. No news at 12:30 a.m., June 5th. In this case, no news must be bad news. But what could have happened? The newscasters won't say. They just talk around the subject.